Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is National Master Lbcscl, and today we're gonna take a look at the standings in the lower Bucks County. Like you guys can see, we had Abington versus Council Rock in the final. It was a draw at the beginning, and then it was decided in the playoffs. It was a big surprise because Council Rock won most of their games. It was probably the only team in the league history that they won all the matches at all the games, at all the boards, match after match after match. So congratulations, guys. You guys deserve the victory. Good job for Abington also. And today we have a special guest. We have Mike Canfield that he played for Doylestown. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we're gonna analyze, we're gonna see the game of the day. Just gonna upload the game. Here it is. And we have Max from Council Rock, who's around a 2000 player, very experienced player, and versus Chris from Abington, who's around over 1400. So let's see the game. What's the name of this opening?
French defense.
French defense, very good. And black played bishop b4, e5, and c5. This is a typical pawn structure for the French defense, where the center gets blocked and black pressures on a d4 pawn or d4 square with the knight and with the queen, and he wants to break the pawn structure. However, here white played knight c3, and he played an interesting move, a3. Now, why do you think he played a3, Mike?
He wants to break that pin for his knight, kick the bishop.
Correct. So the bishop is spinning the knight, and white wants to get rid of the pin and at the same time get the bishop pair. But here black played queen a5. I was expecting bishop takes c3, pawn takes c3, and a typical position arises in the French defense where white has the bishop pair and white for compensation for the double pawns. And black could just develop the pieces and pressure on d4. Black could play c4 here to stop bishop d3, because this bishop is a monster bishop. Now if black allows bishop d3 and then c4, white will have a typical bishop sacrifice on h7, and we know very well that the knight and the queen, they work really well together, and white is threatening what?
Mate right there.
Queen h7 mate, and now white can pick up the f7 pawn first and then prepare bishop a3 to take the f8 square, the running square from the king. So just an example of how dangerous is white position. Now coming back to the game, white played bishop d2 in the game. However, what do you think about this sacrifice, of the exchange sacrifice here? 8 takes b4 instead of bishop d2.
I think it gives white a lot of good play. He's sacrificing exchange, but the knights come in, and
so knight b5, I'm threatening fork, knight a6, and now knight d6 check.
And you get the queen on
and
f3.
I captured your knight, so you don't have no activity. I captured the pawn, so I have a knight and a pawn for the rook. But what do you think about black position?
He's really cramped. So that knight's gonna have a hard time getting out. That bishop's gonna have a hard time getting out. Both of his rooks are closed in. Only his queen's out, and it's really out of play.
Correct.
And yeah, queen gets an f3. The knight comes in. You're attacking the f7 square, and black's gonna have trouble.
White will have a very good compensation, even though black has the rooks. There's no open file for the rooks. So it's one of the strange positions where a knight is stronger than a rook.
Yeah.
And the knight on d6 is super strong. So white is very easy to play on the white side. Queen f3 threatening queen f7 mate, knight h3, knight g5, short castle, very easy to play. It's much harder to play on the black side. But in the game, white played bishop d2, and after bishop takes c3, pawn takes c3, black played c4, closing the position, closing the center. I mean, it's a nice pawn structure, But the minus is there is no activity. It's nothing to attack, and white can just attack on the king side. So maybe more in the spirit of the position will be knight e7, knight f3, knight b6 to keep the tension a little bit, and after bishop e2,
and then you play c4.
Then play c4, or if you play bishop d3, then c4. Now the difference is, comparing to the game, is the queen is on d1. In the game, black played c4 straight, and then the queen could go to g4, and who has the initiative?
White.
Black needs to respond, and I attack, you defend, I attack again. I think white is winning on the 8-9 move here. White is winning, and strategically is winning. It's just a matter of time. How? Why? Because black has no activity. This bishop is blocked in by his own pawns. And what's the plan for black? White wants to play on the king side. He has this beautiful square. The black squares are super weak. It's very easy to play on the white side again. So black just made natural moves. He developed the pieces. Bishop d7, h5, knight a6, pawn takes, and suddenly, how many pawn islands black has?
3.
1, 2. This is 2 pawn islands. 1 and 2.
Those two are connected.
So the more pawn islands you have, the weaker you are. Now the main problem is this pawn on e6, and the dark squares are also weak. This bishop is a bad bishop because his pawns are on the same color with your bishop. Black has a lot of problems. Knight f3, knight e7, knight g5, and already white is attacking on h7 and e6, the base of the pawn structure. h5, queen h3, keeping the pressure on e6, rook f8, and now white knight came into f6, check, and white was very consistent on the king side, attacked on the king side, opened up the king side, and even won a pawn on the king side. I think white didn't win this game because in his mind at this point the game was over.
Yeah.
His position was just too good, and his mind relaxed. Bishop h3, I mean, look, it's absolutely beautiful, this position for white. Black only could do is defend, and at least he tried to trade pieces, and that's why he played king c8.
What happens with
knight c7?
With knight h or bishop h6 now?
Bishop h6 has the problem. The role of the bishop on d2 was to protect the pawn on c3, and obviously you will give up all these pawns, and that's exactly what black is waiting and hoping for, to get some counterplay. Here black all he has to do is sit and wait. Has no counterplay. Queen h6. I mean, I think here white was winning after knight takes d7, king takes d7, and bishop takes e6. I think he missed this bishop sacrifice, because after queen h6 check, if the king moves, this is a beautiful fork.
Yeah.
And white is just way active here and still has an attack on the king. Just played queen h6, knight c7, rook g1, queen b6, king e2. He connected his rooks, and he wants to come in with the rook. And now black played knight e8. It will be interesting for black to play queen b2 to attack the c2 pawn and look for some counterplay. But black stick to his plan. That was his plan, to play with knight d8. Obviously white played rook b1 first, queen c6. I was expecting queen a6, just to, you could still keep the queen on the 6th rank and attack on a3. After queen c6, knight takes e8, rook takes e8, rook g7. I mean, did black position improve that he traded off those knights? What do you think?
I think, yeah, it kind of got rid of white's pressure a little bit, and white suddenly doesn't have as good of an attack with that knight not there, and
correct. So when you are under attack, you want to trade the enemy pieces, especially the active pieces. So the knight on f6 was the most active piece, and black traded off. But white position is still better because it's the super activity he has, plus his pawn up. Plus these two bishops, the bishop pair is stronger than a bishop and a knight. An open position, it just dominate the whole board. But why just was keep trading? And
could one have played bishop g5 before all this, before you trade off rooks? No.
Bishop g5 here?
No. When they played rook g7, he doubled up the rooks. Bishop g5 there. No, before the trade.
Bishop g5, and if I move the knight to f5, I mean, it's interesting because you have queen h8 in the end, but I could block with the bishop.
Yeah, I think he had taken the queen there too. I was looking at bishop taking knight first.
If you take bishop takes knight, then what's the threat? I'm the one who's threatening now.
Yeah, square's looking pretty bad.
So I don't think bishop g5 will accomplish anything. White had the right plan. He just didn't. He was just trading off because in his mind was that, oh, I'm a pawn up, I'm just gonna trade everything off. But all these trades that he didn't bring him any advantage, because he went into an opposite color of bishops where the pawn doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's double too.
Correct. Double pawns on the c file. Very good observation. And like we were gonna see in the end game, this c2 pawn is gonna drop, and he thought that he can win this endgame, but actually in this endgame I prefer black. I think black is winning in this endgame. Why? Because after king d7, if I play king c6, king b5, king a4, king b3, white has two weaknesses. I attack both of them in the same time. You can protect both of them in the same time.
Yeah.
And I think black is winning. Let's say you make a move. This will be a very, very interesting endgame here to see if we can queen or no. I'm just curious what the computer says. Yeah, the computer says the same thing, that is winning, because I could hold on to your pawn with my bishop. Your queen is square, and you can't stop these pawns. So it was a easy win. So when black played king d7, they agreed to draw. But I think black was so happy with a draw, he didn't realize that he has a winning endgame. Because once the king, he makes 4 moves with the kings, and he gets down to b3 where he attacks the 2 pawns, it's nothing to think about it. You don't have to think here. It's easy. And white has nothing better to do than to attack these pawns. And if
could white have tried to hold on to
the d4 pawn?
Yeah.
But then just play king d3. I attack your bishop. I'm threatening to queen, and same thing. When I pick up that pawn, the d4 pawn, you liberate the e4 square for my bishop. Man. So if you stay on with this pawn, then I just push the pawn and I queen, and if you go back, I pick up the pawn, and then I have the e4 square for the bishop, and you can hold on to the square. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Congratulations to Council Rock Sal for winning the Lower Bucks County Scholastic Chess League. And what did you think about this game, Mike?
I think White had a really good advantage in the beginning, and then he liquidated all his material. He kind of gave it up, and in the end game, Black, like you just showed us there, Black, he had good chances to win there. But he was a lower rated player. He was probably just Abington wasn't really expected to win. Probably he was excited for the draw, and he didn't.
Correct.
Didn't look deep enough.
I think that was the one moment, the one time, one shot you have in a game with a way higher rated player. I mean, it's 600 points difference in strength and rating. It was his opportunity to play on, even he was low on time. It was if he would realize it, that he was winning, probably he would play on. I mean, he was nothing in that endgame where he agreed to draw. He had nothing to lose, absolutely nothing to lose here, because how are you gonna lose? I mean, if you keep the bishop here, you can lose this pawn structure, and probably because it was low on time, he didn't realize he was winning. But Abington had his shot, his chance, and this was it. He missed it. But good job, guys. Congratulations. And I see you guys next year.